Welcome to the Parkinson's Disease Education Show, where we demystify the disease and empower you as the person with Parkinson's disease to reach your true potential. The content contained on this show is for informational purposes only and is not meant to be a replacement for information or advice that you receive from your in-person medical or therapy professionals. If you haven't already, I hope you'll consider subscribing, and for an even more personalized experience, please ask us about our memberships. Now, without further ado, let's start the show. Good morning, everybody. Dr. Michael here for What's Next Wednesday. If you're not familiar with this live stream, you're new to the channel, welcome. This is a members-only live stream that's a preview of upcoming content on the channel, and it becomes public at a later date. I'm actually running a little behind on doing this one. It's on a Wednesday, which is typical, but usually I do it a week or two before the episode drops, and this one is the week of. But nevertheless, members are seeing this first. It will be a public video in a couple of days. So welcome those of you who are watching as the replay. And for those of you who are members of the channel already, thank you so much for your support. If you want to see early access and updates like this, be sure to sign up for our memberships. We also have a community where you can ask questions and connect outside of YouTube. So let's talk about the subject at hand. This is a preview of the upcoming episode that's going to be dropping this coming Saturday. This is August the 5th, so if I do my math right, I think Saturday is August the 8th, and my calendar is not turned to August yet, otherwise I would tell you right now. But anyways, this coming Saturday, and we're going to be talking about a relatively sensitive topic of incontinence and Parkinson's, or that can come along with Parkinson's. Incontinence is something that can happen due to age-related, let's say, degradation of the systems. But that's not to say incontinence is normal in the aging process. Incontinence is something that, by and large, can be prevented if you know what's happening, because a lot of incontinence issues come down to pelvic floor muscle issues, and so in that sense, there's some common ground that can be shared with Parkinson's disease. But what's different is there's up to 10 factors that, again, some are shared with individuals that don't have Parkinson's, but there's up to 10 factors that can really contribute to Parkinson's, individuals with Parkinson's disease developing incontinence, particularly incontinence of bladder. Of course, you can have bowel incontinence as well. Primarily, this is focusing on bladder incontinence and what can be done to help with that. So a lot of the issues with Parkinson's-related incontinence tends to be neurological. That's what's more complicated about it than just an individual who happens to be, let's say 80, 90 plus, age-related incontinence, and they have some muscle issues, muscle tone issues that can be fixed by and large by physical therapy, things like that, pelvic floor therapy. But in Parkinson's, there's definitely some cases where some pelvic floor therapy would be beneficial, but there's also, again, the neurological aspect of it that's less in our control. And so is there something that can be done about it? In short, mostly yes, but if it becomes to a point where there is not an ability to control it, we're going to be going into a little bit more of adapting to the situation and what can be done about that. Before I go into that more, I did want to mention one of the biggest aspects of incontinence is actually safety, and safety not just in terms of there's a couple of different aspects of safety. So number one, fall risk goes up exponentially with incontinence, and we'll talk about the reasons why that happens in this episode. Parkinson's disease already results in balance problems and a tendency to have fall issues if it's not dealt with. And if you add on incontinence on top of that, it can make it even worse, even more likely that a fall is going to happen. And this is particularly pertaining to nighttime urination. So you're going to want to watch the episode to find out how that all ties in, and what can be done about it. The other aspect that isn't touched on in the episode that I'll mention now is that if you stay wet for prolonged periods of time, whether it's briefs or adult diapers, um, but especially like sleeping at night, if you're staying wet for prolonged periods of time, it wreaks havoc on your skin. It makes your skin way more susceptible to breakdown. You can get problems with pressure ulcers, and that can lead to even worse issues. So the bottom line is we want to make sure that if there is a case of incontinence, that we're doing whatever we can to mitigate the problem of, well, first of all, staying dry as much as possible. Um, but if you do need adaptive ways to deal with incontinence, then what's a good tool is an option to use. There's a product that's mentioned in the upcoming episode. This is a sponsored episode by a particular company that produces incontinence underwear. It's not meant to just be an ad, so I don't want you to be turned off by that. It's just mentioned as an option for a product, a company that produces these kind of products, and I do some comparison between competitors and this brand. But there's no pressure on that. I mean, there's definitely a lot of options out there and a lot of brands people are familiar with that you can choose from. Um, and this company in particular doesn't want it to be like an ad, so it's not meant to be. It's not done in that kind of fashion. It's just kind of mentioned as an option, like I said. Um, in this episode, I talked about a patient of mine who, not related to the product, but a patient of mine who actually essentially turned his life around by handling the nighttime incontinence issue in a specific way. And it turned the days around so that he was able to progress with therapy finally, to stop falling, have more energy, and all kind of positive things happen because of that. So his sleep was turned around in a major way. And that could be your story too. If you or a loved one with Parkinson's is dealing with this, particularly nighttime urination issues, we want to give you some ideas of things that can be done about that. So I feel like I was going to say something else and I forgot what it was. We talked about safety. We talked about my patient and the sponsored product that we're going to be discussing. Yeah, essentially, there's dignity issues that are inherent with incontinence, a feeling of loss of control, also just embarrassment of having to deal with this issue, and I feel for you on that. I can only imagine what that is like to go through, and I've had many patients go through this, so I've experienced it as a third party in helping people. But just know that there are some options out there to essentially save dignity, making sure that you're staying dry during the daytime, and that nighttime could potentially go a lot better as well. Either through a brief that really has great volume ability to hold that content, or even adult diapers that help at night. That could be transformative, actually, for not only better sleep, but also improved safety, and the days could be better as well. So I will wrap up with that, but do come and watch the premiere of that episode this coming weekend. I look forward to being there with you, and let's learn about dealing with this issue together. As always, hope you have a great day and be empowered. I'll catch you in the next episode.